This is McFly Angler.
And it starts now.
For a hook, we will need a standard dry fly hook like these barbless ones from Risen Fly, and today I'm tying a size 14. Place a hook securely in your vise. For thread, I like Vivas 10-aught, and today I'm using brown. Start the thread a little down from the hook eye and then snip or snap off the waist. Then bring your thread down to the start of the bend of the hook. And for the tail, I'm going to use this CDL feather from a medium Pardue color tailing pack. Stroke out about 6 or so strands so they are perpendicular to the feather stem in order to align the tips, and then strip them off the stem. These feathers are perfect for mayfly tails because they are speckled and rather stiff, and also long fibers. Anyway, let's measure out about a hook shank length for the tail and then tie it in with a couple tight wraps. To add a shuck, let's get a few fibers from this poly yarn. You really want very few here, only 5 to 6 strands. And you don't need them very long either. I find cutting this short makes separating out a small amount of fiber a little easier than the longer piece. Also, keep in mind almost any fiber will do here, so you can use dubbing as well if you want. Anyway, this is about the right amount. Tie this in so it sticks out just slightly off the back of the hook, maybe a hook eye length or two. Just a little hint of fiber is all you need. And then cut off the excess tail material and clean up that section by winding up the hook shank with touching wraps and then go back down to the tail. For the body, we will use turkey biot, and today I'm using brown. Separate out one of the longer strands on this side of the feather. Then strip it off the stem. The tip is very fine, so let's cut off a little of the tip. Now tie this in on the back side of the hook to start the tail. These biots have a smooth side and a rough side. You can see here the rough side is on top when tying in, which will give a better ribbing effect when you wrap this. Anyway, advance your thread up to about the 3rd mark on the hook shank, and then go back down halfway to build a taper. And here I'm spinning my thread to uncord it and make it a smoother body. Anyway, once you build up a good taper, end with your thread at that 3rd mark. For security, let's add a brush of this super glue. Now grab the base of the biot with some hackle pliers and proceed to make touching wraps up the hook shank to create a nice segmented looking body. Right there, the camera jumped, and that's because the hackle pliers slipped off the biot. But with movie magic, it's almost like it didn't happen. And this is one reason why the super glue is a good thing to add. It will keep that from fully unraveling and making you rewrap the body again. Anyway, once you reach the thread, then capture the biot and snip off the waist. Now we need some dubbing. I'm tying a blue wing olive, so here I am taking some of this olive colored Antron dubbing to make a collar. Dub a little onto your thread and then make a small dubbing ball right in front of the biot body, but make sure you leave a little room at the head of the fly. Okay, now we need some CDC, and I'm using blue dun to mimic a blue wing olive. Take 2 feathers and align the tips. Measure out the tip to about a hook shank length, and then tie it in at that measurement right in front of the dubbing ball, ensuring that it stays directly on top of the hook shank. Then trim off the butt sections, leaving a little bit sticking out. This will look like a wing that is broken or not exiting the shuck properly. Hence the name of the fly, the Last Chance Cripple. Okay, let's make some more wraps up the hook shank so it's just behind the hook eye. Pull back the wing and make a few wraps under it to lift it up, and then bring your thread back to behind the wing and down to the crippled wing once again. Now we need some dry fly hackle, and I have this grizzly midge saddle that will work great. I'm looking for a feather that is just slightly less than the size of the hook. In this case, a size 16 hackle, as represented on this gauge. You will want to strip off a few fibers at the base of the hackle. Then I like to tie in my hackle with an X-wrap and then use the thread to bend the remaining stem forward and tie over that to lock the feather into place. Now make touching wraps up the hook shank between the 2 CDC wings you created. Depending on the size of the fly, 3 to 5 wraps is sufficient. Then capture the feather, trying to trap as little fiber as possible. Now pull back the front wing and make a couple wraps under it to build up a small head on the fly. Trim off the excess hackle feather and then whip finish your fly. To To secure the head, I really like the Solarez ultra thin resin. It has a fine tip application brush that allows you to get in close with these small flies and only apply resin to just the whip finish if you want. When cured with your UV light, it leaves a nice finish on the head and secures that whip finish so it will never come out. Okay, there we have it, the finished Last Chance Cripple. These sit on the water the same way a mayfly would, trying to emerge from its shuck. It mimics a crippled mayfly that cannot exit its shuck or cannot fly away due to a bum wing. And these crippled mayflies are targeted as they are easy meals for trout that are feeding on the hatch. So, of course, the crippled fly is a great pattern that should get you lots of strikes when fishing an emerging hatch. Let me know in the comments section what you think of this fly and if you have fished with it before. As you all know, I've gotten you all discounts from www.risenfly.com. They manufacture all their own hooks, rods, reels, fly tying tools, and other gear for fly fishing. Not only are the prices at their shop very good already, but like I said, they're offering you 15% off of your first order with them. So go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout for a discount on your entire cart. I want to also thank all of my patrons who support me. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support this channel, and also get some great perks like early access to my videos, participate in live streams, and even discounts on purchasing flies I tie and sell. Yes, that's right, I do sell flies hand-tied by me. If you want to order, you can do so through Patreon for that discount, or just place an order by finding me on Instagram or Facebook. Or if you don't use social media, then you can go to my YouTube homepage, click the About section, and then click View Email Address, and email me with your order. I want to also thank all of you who share all my videos and your continued support by hitting the like button and being my subscriber. Thank you for making these videos possible. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.